Hey everyone, welcome to Ocean Interaction, your go-to channel for all the things game and game development. Today we are taking a deep dive into the Unreal Engine to learn the secret of string variables. This video is divided into three parts. In the first part, we will understand the definition and theory of string variables. In the second part, we will focus on understanding how to create and use string variables, including the available properties in blueprints to modify their behavior. Lastly, in the third part, we will explore how to create and utilize the string variable in C++. Alright, let's understand what is a string variable. In simple terms, a string is a sequence of characters like a word, words or sentences that we can use to store and manipulate text-based information within our game. It provides a lot of flexibility in how you handle and manage your text data in Unreal Engine. String can be manipulated using the wide range of functions and methods. You can compare, convert, replace, reverse and perform various operations to suit your game's requirement. Basically, string is alphanumerical characters where you can store alphabets, numbers and special characters. Now let's go to Unreal Engine and let's see what we can do with the string variable in Blueprint. Blueprint part of the string variable divided into three parts. In the first part, we will take a look at how you can create a variable. In the second part, we will take a look at how you can use and modify the string variable. In the third part, we will take a look at what different properties are available to modify the string variable's behavior. So let's get started with the first part, which is how you can create a string variable in blueprints. To create any variable in the blueprint, first you have to go to My Blueprints and click on this plus icon in the blueprint section. It will create a new variable. The default type of this variable will be the last created variable type. So in my case, it's a string type. So before changing the type, let me give it a default name. In this case, I will explain this with the weapon name. So I will name this variable current weapon. If the type of the variable is not the string value or any other value, you can change the type of this variable by click on this drop down button and selecting one of the type. In our case, we are understanding the string variable, so we will select the string variable. You can also change the type of this variable by here. It is the same menu as this one. So by default, it wouldn't give you the default value until you compile the blueprint. So once you have compiled the blueprint, you will have the default value available where you can give it a default value for your variable. So in our case, I will give it a default value of pistol. Okay, this concludes our first part, is how to create the string variable. Now for the second part, we will understand how you can use and modify the string variable. To use a string variable, you can drag and drop this variable into the event graph and select the get option. Get option will give you the node and a pin where you can use this pin to use this value of this variable in anywhere you like. To modify the value of the string variable, you can drag and drop into the blueprint in the event graph and select the set option. Set option will let you modify the value of this variable. So for example, if I have the current value of pistol and I want to change the current weapon value as a rifle, I can modify it in this node. For the third part of this blueprint, we will take a look at what are the different properties available to modify the behavior of the string variable. Click on the string variable, and in the details panel you will see different properties or modifiers available to modify the behavior of this variable. The first option we have is the variable name. You can change the name of this variable at any given time with this input box. Whatever you change here, it will be the new name of this variable. For example, if I just write down the weapon, it will change the variable name to weapon. Next we have is a variable type. You can change the type of this variable at any given time, but keep in mind that if you change the type to any other type, your blueprint code might be break, and you have to modify the variable wherever you have used that variable to make it work again. Third option we have is a description. You can give it a description so that you can remember why you have created this variable and what it's used for. Give it a meaningful description so that later on, by just reading a description, you know that why you have created this variable and what is the use case. You can just write it down here. For example, if I write down the current weapon, whenever I hover over this variable, I will give this description as a tooltip. So as you can see, the current weapon is shown as a tooltip. Now next option we have is an instance editable. To showcase what this option do, let me go to the level, and as you can see, I have two instances of this class. Let me delete this and showcase you again. So I don't have any instance of this variable. So instance is basically the actual object into the world, and this is just a class, just a blueprint of how that instance will be made or how that instance will be constructed. So as of right now, if you haven't selected this instance editable option, you wouldn't be able to change this instance in the level or the variable value of that instance. For example, as you can see, if I have added this I have added this instance into the world, and in the details panel, if I search for the name, I don't get any of these properties available because the name, if I search for the current weapon, I don't have any property available because by default it's not instance editable. So that only way you can change this variable is within this class. By the way, this eye icon is the same as this toggle button here. So whatever you do in one of these options will reflect the other one. For example, if I close the eye icon here, it will toggle the instance editable option here, and if I toggle the instance editable button here, it will toggle the eye icon as well. So once you have selected this instance editable option, if you go back into the world, and now when you select one of these options, as you can see, I have now current weapon variable available to modify. So I can give it any other variable. So I can modify this variable for the default behavior of this instance. Next, we have blueprint read only. So if you want this variable to not change the value in any other way but just in the default value, for example, you have the value of the pi that you want to set it once in the default, and you just want that anywhere in the code or anyone who is using this class can see but cannot modify the value of the pi or any other variable that you have, you can select this option to blueprint read only. If you select this option, only way to edit this variable is by default value. So if I try to set it or modify this value, the blueprint wouldn't let me edit this value. As you can see, the set option is now grayed out because I have set this variable as a blueprint read only. Next option we have is expose on spawn. To demonstrate you, let me show you with the spawn actor of class node. As you can see, with this node, we can spawn any new actor of this class. So let me spawn this actor. As you can see, if I want to set the default value when I spawn this actor, as of right now, I don't have any default variable available to change. If I want this current weapon value to change whenever I spawn a new class, I can select this option, expose on spawn, and as you can see here, it has created it will let me change the default value of this current variable. Next we have is private. So private property will let you, if you have the child classes of this class and you don't want the child classes to edit this property, you can toggle this property private. You can turn on the private option and it wouldn't let the child classes modify this value. Next we have spawn to cinematics. This option is useful when you want this variable to expose to cinematics. So whenever you have the level sequencer or any sequencer and you want to use this actor and change this value from that sequencer, you can do it with the turn on this option. Next we have category. So every variable has a default category. So by default it has a default category, but you can create a new categories to organize your variable. Imagine you have hundreds of variables and it all are in this same list. It will be quite difficult to navigate or search any of the variable. To organize this, we can create and place this variable into the different categories. We always have one default category called default. If I want this variable to have it in its category called weapons, I can just name the new category name and it will create a new category and assign this variable into that category. If I click on this drop down button, as you can see, we have now two categories, default and weapons. Now next properties are for multiplayer. After this series, I will create a multiplayer series where I will explain all of these properties in details, what this do and how you can use it. And this concludes our blueprint part of this string variable. Now let's go to the Visual Studio and see what we can do in this string variable in C++. C++ part is divided into the two sections. In the first part, I will show you how you can create a string variable. In the second part, I will show you how you can modify and use this created string variable. So let's start with the first part, which is how to create a string variable. To create a string variable, you write down f string, where F and S are capital, and then give it a name. In our case, I will name it current weapon. And optionally, it's okay if you don't give it any default value, but optionally you can give it a default value to start with the default value. So in this case, I will name it pistol. and give it a default value of pistol to this current weapon. Now for the second part, I will show you how you can modify and use this variable. To modify the app string variable, you can write down the name of the variable. So in our case, it's current weapon. And with the equal sign, you can give it any other new value. For example, I will give it a rifle as a new value for the current weapon. To use this variable, you just need to write down the name of this variable, and it will replace that value with the variable name with the value of that variable. For example, if I have this new app string called new weapon, and I want to assign the current weapon to that new weapon, I can just write down the name of the variable. And it will be assigned the value of this current variable to the any other variable, or in our case this new weapon. Lastly, I have a request for you. Creating this video requires significant amount of time and effort for recording, editing, uploading and maintaining. And I am providing all this valuable content for free, so I need your support. Please hit that subscribe button, give us a thumbs up and share this video with your friends. It doesn't cost you anything, but it truly motivates me to create more content for you. Stay connected with us on Discord and LinkedIn. Links are in the description. If you have any question or suggestion for the future video, drop them in the comments below. Thanks for joining here at Ocean Interaction, where we make wave in gaming world. Until the next time, happy coding. See you. Bye bye.